Hello students, today we are going to start a important topic which is known as a quantitative analysis. Quantitative analysis. Actually, this topic is in 11th NCRT part 2 unit number 12, that is the organic chemistry, some basic principles and techniques. Okay, this is actually 11th organic chemistry part 2 unit number 12, the first chapter, organic chemistry, some basic principles and techniques. Okay, now also this is in mole concept. It is also used in mole concept, calculation of percentage of composition of elements, percentage of composition of elements. Okay, now here in organic compound, especially if you see in any organic compound, you have mainly carbon and hydrogen. When carbon and hydrogen both elements are present, such compounds are called hydrocarbons. Okay, along with these two elements there are other possibility elements. Oxygen will be present, nitrogen will be present, sulfur atom will be present, phosphorus atom will be present. Okay, these are the commonly occurring elements in the given organic compound. Okay, now how to estimate the amount of these elements, and one more important thing, halogens. Halogen, that is especially chlorine, bromine and iodine. How much of the percentage of these elements are present in the given organic sample, that is known as quantitative analysis. There is a one more topic is there, qualitative analysis, that is the detection of these elements. How to detect the carbon, how to detect nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur, phosphorus, halogen, that is called qualitative. Now we are dealing with what, quantitative, that is the amount of the element, that is the estimation of elements in the given organic compound. Okay, now here out of these three elements, the one important topic will be the estimation of nitrogen. How to estimate the nitrogen in the given organic compound, because this question is very important for JEE point of view, even NEET point of view. So that's why first of all I am taking how to estimate the nitrogen in the given organic compound. After that we will discuss one by one other elements. Okay, now come to estimation of nitrogen. So basically nitrogen in the given organic compound is estimated by two methods. Number one, Dumas method. Number two, Geldahl method. Number one, Dumas method. Number two, Geldahl method. These two methods are very important for competitive examination. Okay, now let us see one by one. Number one, Dumas method. In the Dumas method, what happens? The estimation of nitrogen. What is the Dumas method? Which element is estimated in the Dumas method? That is the nitrogen. Okay. In this method, first of all, nitrogen present in this organic compound is first of all converted into nitrogen, N2 gas. This is the objective question. In Dumas method, nitrogen can be estimated in which form? N2 form, molecular form. This is very important and objective question. Okay. Now, first of all, a known weight of a organic compound is heated with cupric oxide. What is the cupric oxide? CuO is called cupric oxide. Okay. In an atmosphere of carbon dioxide. Okay. Now, carbon and hydrogen present in the compound will undergo oxidation to give CO2 and H2O, and nitrogen will be set free. Nitrogen will be what? Set free. Are you getting my point? Now some oxides of nitrogen formed are reduced to free nitrogen by passing over the red heat copper gas. Let's suppose we have an organic compound having carbon, hydrogen and nitrogen. Let's suppose number of carbon atoms X, hydrogens Y, nitrogen atoms Z. Heating with whom? Cupric oxide. Cupric oxide is act as a oxidizing agent. It act as a what? Oxidizing agent. Okay. Now here, whatever the carbon is present in the organic compound, that will be getting oxidized to carbon dioxide. Okay. Now, whatever the hydrogen is present in the organic compound, that is converted into water. Okay. Now, the next one is the nitrogen. Next one is the nitrogen. Here, nitrogen in the organic compound, it may also undergo oxidation in the presence of high temperature. It may give nitrogen gas. It may give nitrogen and small amount of oxides of nitrogen. Small amount of oxides of nitrogen. In generally, nitrogen is a chemically non-reacting gas. If some part of nitrogen may be combining with cupric oxide, so it may form some other oxides of nitrogen. So what we have to do? We have to reduce these nitrogen oxides. Again, these nitrogen oxides reduces with hot copper metal, hot copper gauge. So you will get free nitrogen gas, free N2 gas. The basic fundamental here is, in the given organic compound, okay, the nitrogen can be converted into free nitrogen gas by using cupric oxide as a oxidizing agent. Cupric oxide as a what? Oxidizing agent, which oxidizes the carbon into carbon dioxide, hydrogen into H2O. Okay. Now, next point, the mixture of these gases, especially we have which gases we have? Number one, CO2 gas we have. Number two, water vapor we have. Number three, nitrogen gas we have. All these gases mixtures are collected over the caustic soda. Collected over what? NaOH or KOH. Caustic soda is the KOH. Caustic potash. Caustic potash means KOH solution. Okay. Now, KOH solution is basic in nature, which can absorb the Sdic oxide, that is the carbon dioxide, we know in ideometry experiment. Okay. Now, nitrogen will be collected in the upper part of the nitrometer. Nitrometer. Now see the diagram here. Here, this is a furnace where the organic compound undergo combustion in the presence of carbon dioxide and cupric oxide. Okay. Now this cupric oxide act as a oxidizing agent, okay, which oxidizes the organic compound. Okay. So after complete oxidation, what happens? CO2 will be produced. Number one, water vapor will be produced. Number two, number three, nitrogen gas will produce. Okay. Now these three gaseous mixtures are sent into the KOH solution. Which solution? KOH solution. KOH, what it do? It will absorb the carbon dioxide gas, and remaining water will be present and dinitrogen gas will be present. This dinitrogen gas will move towards upward direction. Okay. So here nitrogen will occupy the empty space over the surface of the KOH solution. Okay. Now this is completely mercury column. This is completely what? Mercury. Now nitrogen gas collected over the surface of the mercury. Surface of the mercury. Now here important thing is, the nitrogen gas volume can be calculated with the help of a graduated. This is a graduated tube. So we have the different volumes here. With the help of this, how much of nitrogen gas will be available we can calculate, and also the pressure of a nitrogen gas can be calculated. Okay, now here actually nitrogen gas contaminated with some water vapor also, so इसलिए that's why this gas is known as a moist gas. So you will get the which gas? Moist gas. Now we know how to calculate the pressure of a dry gas. Dry gas pressure will be equal to pressure of moist gas minus what? Aqueous tension. What is the meaning of aqueous tension? It is the vapor pressure of water. It is the vapor pressure of water. Okay, now we have to calculate only the pressure of the dry gas alone. So total pressure minus of aqueous tension, we will get the only pressure of the nitrogen gas. Let's suppose we have condition STP condition. Let assume. Okay, now we know 22,400 ml of dinitrogen gas will have 28 grams of nitrogen. Yes or no? Because 1 mole. Now the given volume of dinitrogen has how much of weight of nitrogen by the unitary method? So here we can calculate the weight of nitrogen. After getting the weight of nitrogen, that is 28 divided by 22,400 ml into volume of nitrogen, where at standard temperature and pressure. Okay, now this is the weight of nitrogen. Now from this we can convert the nitrogen weight into the percentage. This much of nitrogen will be present some x grams of a organic sample. So in 100 grams of organic sample, how much of dinitrogen will be present? By the unitary method, we can find the percentage of nitrogen. Percentage of nitrogen is equal to 28 divided by 22,400 multiplied by volume of nitrogen at STP condition divided by weight of organic compound into 100. So finally you will get the percentage of nitrogen present in the given organic compound. This is the direct formula. Okay, now I am writing this formula: 28 divided by 22,400 into volume of nitrogen at STP divided by here weight of organic compound multiplied by 100. Okay, now this is very simple, because in this, if the question has STP condition, if STP conditions are mentioned in the question, it is very easy to solve the numerical. But let's suppose given conditions and STP conditions. Let's suppose what is the pressure of the nitrogen gas? Moist pressure minus aqueous tension. Temperature we know, volume we know. Volume we can find here the volume of nitrogen gas. Here volume of nitrogen gas we can measure here. So volume of nitrogen gas we know. Okay. Temperature, let's suppose room temperature we know. Okay. Now come to STP condition. What is the pressure at STP? 1 atmosphere, or in terms of mm, 76 mm. Pressure will be 760 mm. Temperature 273 Kelvin. So we can find the volume of dinitrogen gas at STP. Yes. How? P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. From here, what is the V2? Volume of dinitrogen at STP. Volume of nitrogen gas at STP. After getting the volume of nitrogen at STP, directly here volume of nitrogen when we are getting at STP, so we can find the weight of dinitrogen, from which we can find the percentage of nitrogen. So again we can write the direct formula. Percentage of nitrogen direct formula will be equal to 28 by 22,400 into V2 ml volume of dinitrogen, where at STP condition divided by weight of organic compound multiplied by 100. This is the direct formula to calculate the percentage of nitrogen. Okay, suppose if the STP volume given, directly we can use this formula. If the STP volume not given, then apply the formula P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2, P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2, where from which we can find the volume of nitrogen gas at STP, that is the V2. Okay, now the important thing here, the total pressure will be given to you and aqueous tension will also be given to you. So total pressure minus of aqueous tension will be the pressure of the dry gas only. Pressure of which gas only? Dry gas only. Okay, now come to some problems based on Dumas method. Okay, number 1, in the Dumas method, nitrogen in the organic compound is estimated in which form? This is a very important objective question, dinitrogen form. Okay, next, in the estimation of nitrogen by the Dumas method, 0.25 grams of a organic compound gave 22.4 ml of a dinitrogen gas at STP. Okay, now the question already given STP. So how to solve this problem? Now 22.4 ml of nitrogen at STP condition given by 0.25 grams of a organic compound. Okay, now just now I told you 22,400 milliliter dinitrogen gas, where at STP condition how much of weight? 28 grams. Okay, now the given volume 22.4 ml nitrogen gas has how much of weight? Okay, so from here we can find the weight of nitrogen. Okay, that will be 28 by 22,400 multiplied by 22.4. Are you getting my point? So this is the weight of the nitrogen. So you will get here 28 into 10 raised to minus 3 grams. Now convert this into percentage. Okay, how much of the sample is given to you? 0.25. 0.25 grams organic compound has 28 into 10 raised to minus 3 grams nitrogen. Yes or no? So the question is, in 100 grams of a organic sample, how much of nitrogen will be present? Just unitary method. So that will be 28 into 10 raised to minus 3 into 100 divided by how much? 0.25. Are you getting my point? So you will get the answer 11.2. You will get the final answer 11.2 percentage. What is the answer here? 11.2%. 11.2%, it is the fourth option. Otherwise, if you know the formula, you can directly use this formula. Okay, how? This is the formula given to you here. 28 by 22,400 multiplied by volume of dinitrogen at STP by weight of OC, that is organic compound, and into 100. By using that formula also you can easily calculate. Are you getting my point? Now come to next one. Here 0.28 grams of organic compound in the Dumas method liberated 24 ml of nitrogen at STP. What is the percentage of nitrogen? So directly we can use percentage of nitrogen is equal to how much? 28 by 22,400 into volume of nitrogen at STP condition given 24, weight of the organic compound given to you 0.28 into 100. Question number 3. So answer will be 10.71%. 10.71. So you have the answer 10.7, second option. Okay, so you can practice the fourth sum. Okay, now come to the fifth sum. Fifth sum, here STP conditions are just wait. In this fifth sum, organic compound formula given to you. Okay, now first of all, what is the molecular formula given to you? C3H7N. Now how to find the percentage of nitrogen? First of all, percentage of nitrogen is equal to how many nitrogen atoms are present? One nitrogen atom is there, so atomic mass 14 divided by total molar mass, that will be 57 into 100. How the 57? Carbon atomic mass 12, 12 3s are 36, each hydrogen will be 7 and one nitrogen will be 14. So you will have 57 molar mass. This is the percentage of nitrogen. Actually, what is the percentage of nitrogen? By using the Dumas method, 28 by 22,400 into volume of nitrogen at STP divided by weight of the organic compound is given to you 2 grams multiplied by 100. Are you getting my point? From here we can find the volume in ml, volume of nitrogen gas in ml, which is 392.9 ml. Okay, so this will be approximately 393 ml. But in the question, how much of volume of N2 will be liberated? 400 minus VML liberated, that will be equal to how much? 393. So V is equal to how much? 7. So this is a integer type question, integer based question. Okay, now come to next problem. This is also similar to first problem, second problem. Try yourself. Okay, now come to next one. This is a very important model. Now here STP conditions not given to you, so we have to first of all calculate the volume of nitrogen under STP condition. After that we can use the formula. Okay, now here what is the STP conditions here? Pressure 1 atmosphere and temperature will be 273 Kelvin. Now remember, pressure P1 is equal to, what is the pressure of the gas? 715. Remember, in the question aqueous tension is also mentioned. That means the gas will be moist gas. So total pressure 715 minus of aqueous tension will be the 15 mm. Okay, so the final pressure of the dry gas will be 700 mm. Now what is the volume of the gas at 715 mm and 300 Kelvin? That is the 50 ml. Okay, what is the temperature here? T1, that is equal to 300 Kelvin. We have to calculate the volume of the nitrogen under STP condition. Pressure will be 760 mm, volume to be calculated, and temperature is, we know, 273 Kelvin. Okay, so by applying P1 V1 by T1, actually this is the here, this is the P1 V1 by T1, P2 V2 by T2. Okay, now here P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. What is the P1 here? 700 mm, volume 50 ml, temperature 300 Kelvin, P2 760 mm, V2 to be calculated, T2 will be 273 Kelvin. Okay, from here volume of the dinitrogen gas, that is equal to 41.9 ml. After that we can directly calculate the percentage of nitrogen, that is 28 by 22,400 into volume of nitrogen in ml at STP condition divided by weight of organic compound into 100. Okay, 28 by 22,400 into what is the volume now? 41.9. What is the weight of the organic compound given in the question? 0.3 grams. Okay, multiplied by how much? 100. Okay, so finally answer 17.46%. 17.46%. Here the formula is the percentage of nitrogen is the 28 by 22,400 into volume of nitrogen at STP by weight of organic compound multiplied by 100. Okay, now the second method is there, which is called Geldal method. What is the pronunciation? Geldal method. In the Geldal method, this is a very important method as compared to Dumas method, because if you see the previous online papers, so obviously this question is there. Okay, that's why I'm mentioning this is very important concept. Okay, now in this Geldal's method, what happens? The nitrogen present in the organic compound is estimated in the form of ammonia. This is the objective question. In Dumas method, nitrogen is estimated, while in Geldal's method, nitrogen is estimated in the form of what? Ammonia. In the form of what? Ammonia. Okay, now next, a known mass of a organic compound containing nitrogen, it is heated with concentrated sulfuric acid in the presence of potassium sulfate and copper sulfate. Then nitrogen present in the compound is converted into ammonium sulfate. This is very important. What is the formula of ammonium sulfate? NH4 taken twice, SO4. This is the first compound in Geldal method. Nitrogen will be converted into ammonium salt, and in the second form ammonia. Okay, this is very important. Now the objective question, what is the role of the K2SO4? K2SO4 is used to increase the boiling point, raises the boiling point. Number 2, what is the role of the copper sulfate? Copper sulfate act as a catalyst to increase the rate of the reaction. Now what are the chemical reactions occurring in the Geldal method? Number 1, let's suppose we have organic compound. Assume that it containing nitrogen. When it is strongly heated with the concentrated sulfuric acid, whatever the nitrogen present in the organic compound, it is quantitatively converted into ammonium sulfate. Okay, now this ammonium sulfate, this resulting solution, it is transferred into next another flask, and with excess of sodium hydroxide it is heated. What happens? This is a salt of ammonia. Do you know ammonia is a weak base? Yes. Sodium hydroxide is a strong base. We know strong base decomposes the salt of weak base. So sodium hydroxide displaces the ammonia from its salt. So ammonia gas displaces. This is very important. In inorganic practicals also, you have test for ammonium cation. Okay, ammonium salt. How to identify the ammonium salt? Only with the help of the NaOH or KOH. Any alkali which is stronger than ammonia, if you add and slightly heated, what happens? Ammonia gas liberates. Ammonia has pungent smell, strong smell. Okay, now ammonia evolved is absorbed in a known concentration of excess of standard hydrochloric or sulfuric acid solution. This is very important. We have to estimate the nitrogen in the form of ammonia. Once we know the mass of ammonia, we can find the mass of nitrogen. Are you getting my point? So why? Because 17 grams ammonia, molar mass of ammonia, will containing 14 grams nitrogen. Yes, 14 grams nitrogen. This is the basic concept. This will be the basic concept. 17 grams of ammonia has how many grams of nitrogen? 14 grams. Suppose if I try to calculate the mass of ammonia, so it is easy to calculate the mass of nitrogen, from which we can calculate the percentage of nitrogen. Are you getting my point? Now here, now we are using the standard solution of HCl or H2SO4 with excess quantity. Now what happens when ammonia gas liberated, that is absorbed into the sulfuric acid or hydrogen chloride acid? What happens? Ammonia completely neutralized by either this or this acid. Now what about the remaining in the mixture? Either HCl or H2SO4 will be present because they are taken in excess quantity. Now again, to neutralize the sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid, again we have to use some standard solution of hydrogen sodium hydroxide, because we are taking the sulfuric acid in excess quantity, okay, in which ammonia gas is absorbed, and the remaining excess of sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid must be titrated with the help of a standard solution of a sodium hydroxide. Do you know back titration? So in the back titration video also I explained the Geldal method. If you have any doubts, see the back titration video. Okay, now the percentage of nitrogen will be 1.4 into volume of sulfuric acid into normality of sulfuric acid or hydrochloric, whatever the acid given, whole divided by weight of the organic compound. Okay, now what is the N here? Normality of the acid. What is the V? Remember, this is the volume of acid in milliliter that will be required for the neutralization of ammonia only, because we are taking the excess volume of acid. Are you getting my point? In which how much of exact volume that will be utilized for the neutralization of ammonia, that is the volume here. Okay, now it is mainly used to find the percentage of nitrogen in the foodstuffs, soil, fertilizers, just like urea used as a agriculture fertilizer. So in which how much of percentage of nitrogen is there, we can calculate, and the various agriculture products. Okay, now here one important thing is the drawback or limitation. What is the limitation here? Limitation is that it is not applicable for the compounds which containing NO2, nitroso, azo group, azoxy group, and also nitrogen present in the ring form like pyridine, quinoline, isoquinoline. These compounds, Geldal method is not applicable. For these compounds, Geldal method is not applicable because nitrogen present in these compounds is not quantitatively converted into ammonium sulfate. Once ammonium sulfate is not obtained, how the ammonia gas will be obtained? Are you getting my point? If ammonia gas is not obtained, then how we can find the percentage of nitrogen? So this is not possible. So this is a very, very important objective question. So in the previous paper questions also, these questions are given. Which of the following compound is used for Geldal method, not used for Geldal method, like that. Okay, so I am giving some compounds list here. Please see the structures. Quinoline structure. This is the isoquinoline structure. These are the ring structures. Nitrobenzene. Here the NO2 is the NO2, nitrogen present, nitro functional group. Okay. Now here azobenzene. Next to azoxybenzene. So these are the compounds which do not give the Geldal's method estimation of nitrogen. This is very, very, very important. Okay. Now the reason is, in these compounds, when we heated with concentrated sulfuric acid, nitrogen cannot be converted into ammonium sulfate. quantitatively cannot be converted into ammonium sulfate. This is very important. Okay, now there is some experimental diagram is there. Now here determination of nitrogen by Dumas by Jaldal method. By which method? Jaldal method. Now this flask is a Jaldal flask. Okay, in this flask containing organic compound and sulfuric acid concentrated and copper sulfate along with potassium sulfate also. Potassium sulfate used to raise the boiling point of the sulfuric acid, and copper sulfate act as a catalyst. Okay, this flask is called Jaldal flask. Okay, after Jaldalizing, these contents are transferred into another flask. Okay, otherwise you can take in this flask only, but we have to add NaOH, because whatever the nitrogen that will be present in the form of ammonium sulfate, first of all, this ammonium sulfate must be converted into free ammonia gas. How? By treated with strong base. By treated with whom? Strong base, that is the NaOH. Okay, so that's why we are heating with NaOH. After heating this, what happens? Ammonia gas liberates. Which gas liberates? Ammonia gas. This ammonia gas will come to known volume of the standard solution of the acid. Once this acid, this is a base abstract the acid, abstract the base. Okay, so acid absorb the ammonia. Acid absorbs what? Ammonia gas. Okay, this is a standard solution of. Here actually we are writing known volume, but we have to take the excess of sulfuric acid. Here what we have to take the sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid excess. Okay, now with the help of the back titration, we can find how much of exactly sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid required for the neutralization of free ammonia. We can calculate. Okay, now here some calculations are there here. So how to know how to calculate this formula? This is also very important. Okay, now we will see. Now first of all, the important thing is we have sulfuric acid, we have NaOH, and we have ammonia. Remember, this NaOH is not this NaOH. Okay, this NaOH is after absorption of ammonia into sulfuric acid, the excess of sulfuric acid which is left, that sulfuric acid will be neutralized by another base, that is the NaOH. Are you getting my point? Now we have one acid and two bases. One acid and two bases. So now from law of chemical equivalence. What is the law of chemical equivalence? Total number of equivalents of acid will be equal to total number of equivalents of the base. Okay, how much of acid will be present? Same amount of base must be present for the complete neutralization. So here I am writing number of milli equivalents of acid. We don't know whether sulfuric acid is there or hydrochloric acid is there. That's why I am writing acid will be equal to what? Number of milli equivalents of ammonia plus another base, number of milli equivalents of NaOH. Are you getting my point? Now here we can calculate the number of milli equivalents of ammonia, because acid normality given to you, acid volume is given to you, so we can find the milli equivalents of acid. And after that ammonia absorption into the acid, the excess of acid will be neutralized by another base. So base volume, base normality we know. From here we can find number of milli equivalents of ammonia. We can calculate number of milli equivalents of ammonia. Let's suppose number of milliequivalents of ammonia. Okay, let's suppose number of milliequivalents ammonia is equal to, shall I write, number of milliequivalents of acid minus number of milliequivalents of. This is very important step. Once we know the calculation of number of milliequivalents of ammonia, let's suppose number of milliequivalents of ammonia, let's suppose x. From number of milliequivalents, shall I calculate number of equivalents of ammonia divided by 1000? Okay, now do you know one equivalent of ammonia will be equal to 17 grams. What is the N factor for ammonia? 1. N factor for ammonia 1. Okay, so that's why molecular weight and equivalent weight both are same for ammonia. Now here weight of ammonia is equal to number of equivalents of ammonia multiplied by one equivalent of ammonia. So this is the total weight of ammonia. Once we know the weight of ammonia, we can find the percentage of nitrogen. How? 17 grams of ammonia contains how many grams of nitrogen? 14 grams nitrogen. Yes or no? Now the given ammonia how many grams? X into 10 raised to minus 3 into 17 grams ammonia. Will it contain how many grams of dinitrogen? Unitary method. So this is the mass of nitrogen. Mass of nitrogen is equal to 14 into x into 10 raised to minus 3 into 17 divided by how much? 17 gets cancelled. Okay, so this is the 14 into x into 10 raised to minus 3 grams. You have mass of nitrogen. Okay, from this we can calculate, we can convert this mass into percentage. Okay, so finally I am writing percentage of nitrogen is equal to 14 into x into 10 raised to minus 3 whole divided by weight of organic compound into 100. So finally what I am writing? 1.4 into x divided by weight of organic compound. This is the percentage of nitrogen. Are you getting my point? What is the x here? Number of milliequivalents of ammonia. Now here number of milliequivalents of ammonia will be equal to number of milliequivalents of acid. How to calculate the number of milliequivalents? Normality into volume in ml. So percentage of nitrogen is equal to 1.4 into, instead of milliequivalents, shall I write normality into volume in ml divided by weight of organic compound. Remember, only we have to know this formula. Once we know this formula, so it will be very easy to calculate. Otherwise we have to solve total problem. Okay, so this is the direct formula we can apply in Geldahl method. 1.4 into volume of nitrogen, volume of acid multiplied by the normality of acid. Remember this VML, this is the VML of acid that neutralized by ammonia. This is very important because in the question excess of acid is given to you, but we should not take total volume of acid. Only we have to take that volume of acid which will be completely neutralized by ammonia. Okay, now here we have some questions based on Jaldal method. The first one here, in Jaldal method, estimation of nitrogen, copper sulfate act as a, we know what is the role of a copper sulfate. Copper sulfate is a catalyst. Remember, copper sulfate first letter is C, catalyst first letter is also C, so don't be confused. Okay, next question. In Jaldal method, nitrogen present in the organic compound is first converted into whom? Ammonium sulfate. This is very important question. Next, in Jaldal method cannot be used for the estimation of nitrogen in which of the following compound? This is very important question. Now we know limitations. What are the limitations here? In Jaldal method, what are the limitations we have? It is not applicable to nitro compounds, azo compounds, azoxy compounds, nitroso compounds, and also ring-like structure just like pyridine, pyrrole, quinoline, isoquinoline. Are you getting my point? Now come to this question. This is a azobenzene. Pyridine, we know pyridine is a organic base. Okay, so we know in the GOC what is the structure of the pyridine. This is the structure of the pyridine or pyridine. Okay, now this is also nitrogen present in the ring form. It is also do not respond the Jaldal method. Next, para nitro. Yes, this is also nitro compound. Nitro compound do not give the Jaldal method. So all of these is the answer. Okay. Now fourth question. Jaldal's method can be used for the estimation of the nitrogen in which of the following? Nitrobenzene not valid, quinoline not valid, azobenzene not valid. So answer is none of these. Answer will be what? None of these. Next question. In Jaldal method, nitrogen can be estimated in the form of ammonia. This is very important. In the form of what? Ammonia. Okay. Next come to numericals. In Jaldal method, nitrogen, the ammonia evolved from the 0.5 grams of organic compound neutralized by the 10 ml of a 1 molar sulfuric acid. Now here, what is the direct formula to calculate the percentage of nitrogen? Is equal to 1.4 into volume of acid, normality of volume should be ml, whole divided by weight of organic compound into weight of organic compound. Okay, so this is the direct formula we can apply here. Okay, now what is the volume of acid here? 10 ml. What is the volume of acid here? 10 ml. Now what is the normality? Here sulfuric acid molarity given. Do you know sulfuric acid, dibasic acid? So we know normality is equal to molarity into N factor. Okay, so for sulfuric acid, normality will be the 2 times of the molarity. Okay, now the molarity 1, so normality should be 2, double, whole divided by, what is the weight of the organic compound given to you? 0.5. What is the weight of the organic compound given to you here? 0.5. Okay, now 1.4 into 10 into 2 divided by 0.5. So the final answer will be here 56% of nitrogen. So this is the option number 3. Option number 3. Are you getting my point? There will be another alternative method here. Now first of all, calculate the number of milli equivalents of ammonia. How to calculate? Which is equal to number of milli equivalents of acid. How to calculate number of milli equivalent? Normality into volume in ml. What is the normality? To volume in ml 10 ml, so 20 milli equivalents. So from here we are calculating number of equivalents of ammonia. Number of equivalents of ammonia will be equal to 20 by 1000. So 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 equivalents. From here we are calculating mass of ammonia. Do you know one equivalent of ammonia? 17 mass of ammonia. One equivalent of ammonia 17 grams. Okay. Now this much of 17 into 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 grams. Okay. Now this much of ammonia containing how much of nitrogen? 17 grams ammonia has 14 gram nitrogen. This is a unitary method. Now 17 into 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 grams ammonia will contain how many grams of nitrogen? Okay, so that will be 17 into 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 into 14 divided by 17 gets cancelled. So finally you have 14 2s are 28 into 10 raised to minus 2 grams nitrogen. Okay. Now finally how many grams of organic compound given in the question? 0.5. So 0.5 grams organic compound has 28 into 10 raised to minus 2 grams of nitrogen. Then 100 grams of a organic compound will containing how many grams of nitrogen? So unitary method. So 28 into 10 raised to minus 2 into 100 divided by 0.5. So which will be equal to 56%. So here also we got 56% by directly applying the formula. So it is well and good when we directly use this formula. Okay. If we forgot the formula, no need to be worried. We have general concept by using which we can solve the numerical. Okay. Now here in this question what happens? Sulfuric acid 100 ml 0.1 molar is given. Excess of acid. The question here you see excess of acid. So first of all, how much of exactly acid required for the neutralization of ammonia, that we have to calculate. Okay. Now for that purpose I am writing number of milli equivalents of acid will be equal to number of milli equivalents of ammonia plus number of milli equivalents of NaOH, because we have sulfuric acid excess. Okay, which will first absorbed into ammonia. So ammonia completely neutralizes and the excess of acid now finally titrated with the standard alkali. Okay, NaOH. Okay. Now here what is the total milli equivalents of 100 ml and what is the molarity given? Normality given? Molarity given 0.1. So normality 2 times of the molarity, that will be 0.2. Ammonia milli equivalents to be calculated. Okay. Plus what is the milli equivalents of NaOH? Finally you have 154 ml multiplied by 0.1 molar. So you have 20 is equal to number of milli equivalents of ammonia plus 15.4. From here shall we calculate the number of milli equivalents of ammonia? That is 20 minus 15.4. 20 minus 15.4, that will be 4.6. Once we know the number of milli equivalents of ammonia, from which we can find the number of equivalents, from which we can find the mass of ammonia, from which we can find the mass of nitrogen, and we can convert into 100%. Okay. Now we are directly applying the formula here. Percentage of nitrogen is equal to 1.4 into, shall we write here, number of milli equivalents of ammonia whole divided by weight of organic compound. Remember, actually we using one more formula, normality into volume in ml. Instead of number of milli equivalents of ammonia, we can use this formula also, 1.4 into normality into volume in ml. That will be in the previous case, but here we have sulfuric acid excess of amount. That's why we have to calculate the exact volume required for the complete neutralization of ammonia. Okay, now 1.4 into how many milli equivalents is there, 4.6 whole divided by weight of the organic compound will be 0.5 grams. So the answer will be 12.88 percentage. Okay, next to question number 8, similar model. Okay, try yourself. Question number 8, I will just tell you the answer, that will be the 14. Okay, now question number 9, you have same concept here, Jaldal method, 16.24 will be the answer here. Okay, read the problem carefully and solve yourself. Okay, now question number 10, the answer will be 23.72. So that is the first option. Okay, now question number 11. Question number 11 will be like this: ammonia evolved in the treatment of 0.3 grams of organic compound for the estimation of nitrogen was passed into 100 ml of 0.1 molar sulfuric acid. Okay, the excess of acid will require 20 ml of a 0.5 molar sodium hydroxide. That means this will be excess of sulfuric acid. Okay, so I am writing directly number of milli equivalents of ammonia is equal to, directly number of milli equivalents of acid is 100 into 0.2 minus of base 20 into 0.5, 20 minus 10, that will be the 10. Are you getting my point? So from here we can find the percentage of nitrogen is equal to 1.4 into number of milli equivalents of ammonia whole divided by weight of the organic compound, that is 0.3 grams, weight of the organic compound. So overall percentage will be 46.66%. Up to here, okay, this is the percentage of nitrogen. But the question is, the percentage of nitrogen in the compound is, the percentage of nitrogen is okay. Now the organic compound is the question. So we have acetamide, benzamide, urea and thiourea. Here the concept is, we have to calculate the percentage of nitrogen in each compound, in which if the percentage of nitrogen will be 46.66, then that compound will be the organic compound. Okay, now one by one, what is the acetamide? This is a amide compound. CONH2 will be the functional group. Acid means 2 carbons, 2 carbon containing. Now how much of nitrogen here? 1 nitrogen. 1 nitrogen means 14. Total molar mass 59. Total molar mass into 100. So you will get 23.72. But our nitrogen has our organic compound has 46.66% of nitrogen. So first option is not correct. Come to second one, benzamide, that is the C6H5 CONH2. This is called what? Benzamide. That means here one nitrogen atom is there in benzamide. So total molar mass 121 into 100. So the answer will be 11.57, which is also not our answer. Now come to urea. What is the molecular formula of urea? NH2 C double bond O NH2. Now there are 2 nitrogen atoms in the urea. So 1 nitrogen atomic mass 14, 2 nitrogen means 28. whole divided by molar mass will be 60 into 100. So the answer is 46.66. So our organic compound also has how much of nitrogen? 46.66. And one more, what is the fourth option? Thiourea. Thiourea. Thiourea means here oxygen replaced by sulfur. Thio means sulfur. Okay. Now percentage of nitrogen, here there are how many nitrogens are there? 2 nitrogens are there. 14 14, how much? 28. Okay. Molar mass will be 76 into 100. So your answer will be 36.84. So your answer should be 46.66. That is the urea. So our answer is urea.